We are live once again from the great state of Tennessee. I'm your host, Patrick Simpson, and this is Paranoid, the podcast where we break down conspiracy theories and unsolved mysteries and separate fact from fiction. So, today's the first actual official episode. Did a little introduction last week. If you haven't listened to that, I would take a second, short little episode, just listen to it. Chance for you to understand my conspiracies, where I come from, just a nice little introduction episode. But like I said, today we're actually going to jump into some legit actual conspiracies. And I'm going to start easy. I don't want to just jump into like the crazy stuff because there are some conspiracies that I believe in that are like way out there. I'm not going to just jump right into the fire. So especially you that have never listened to my actual podcast, you said that's my plug. Dropped a new podcast episode this morning. It is not about what I'm talking about today. They are not in sync. So I've had my podcast going for almost a year now, and there's a lot of really good discussions I've talked about on the podcast that I feel like my YouTube crowd that may not listen to the podcast really need to know or are really interesting. So my podcast episode is actually different than what I'm talking about today. And here today, we're going to start with something just really easy. Popular conspiracy that you may have at least heard of a little bit. We're just going to discuss quickly just what exactly it is. As you can see at the bottom, we're talking about the Denver airport conspiracy. And like I said, this is probably one of the most popular conspiracies. It's one that at least everybody may not know a lot about, but it's something that they've at least heard of before. So like I said, we're just going to jump in real quickly, talk about it, see what you think. So the Denver airport in the grand scheme of airports is actually really new. It was originally supposed to be built done, finished, ready to go December of 1993. But because of a bunch of delays and strikes and just a bunch of just weird stuff happening, they actually didn't open until February of 1995, which so that's over a whole year, about 14 months delay from the original opening. And the total cost of it was $4.8 billion, which is equal to about $8.1 billion today. That's $2 billion over their budget. It was supposed to be like originally like a $2.5 billion budget. They basically doubled their budget almost because they just kept expanding, kept adding things, which is how the conspiracies started in the first place. People are like, how did you go $2 billion? How did you go double the limit? Like it just never made any sense. In addition, there was an airport in Denver before. That airport was 12 miles away from downtown. They built this airport 25 miles away from downtown. And like I said, the number 25 itself doesn't sound like a lot, but anybody that lives in any kind of metropolitan area knows 25 miles from downtown is a pretty long way. And that also raised some eyebrows. Like, why didn't you just demolish the old one or build next to it? But either way, they decided to get this massive, and I mean absolutely massive amount of land. Now this is you're not even going, if you don't know this, you're not going to believe this when I say it. You're definitely going to Google it. The area, not just the buildings, but like the area, the amount of land that they own for the Denver airport, that total amount of land is bigger than the entire city of San Francisco and bigger than the entire island of Manhattan, and it's bigger than the entire city of Miami. Now, I want you to think about how big that is. Like I said, I know if you didn't know that, you're not going to believe me. You're going to Google it. But this airport, the land that they bought for this airport, the total land is more than the entire city of San Francisco and the entire city of Miami. What kind of airport? What is going on in Denver that they need an airport this big? Like, I mean, I know Colorado's a beautiful area. It's a lot of traffic that goes through there. But why in the world does Denver, Colorado need an airport this big? And like I said, there's just so many different things that were just building and happening that just started to make these conspiracies go. But that's just the beginning of it. Then you talk about once the building is actually done, all the different things that you can see and find and that happen at this airport that really, like I said, if you're really into this conspiracy, definitely makes you raise some eyebrows. And you start from the very beginning of the airport. First thing you see is this horse, and they call it Lucifer. You see a quick picture. Pretty creepy in my eyes. Just a giant blue horse, and like I said, the eyes are radiating red. And that is what greets you when you first get to the airport. Now, this horse was built by a man named Luis Jimenez. He was an artist, and he said it was named or something after some Indian tribe, something of that sort. Still didn't make any sense. The crazy part about this is he was killed by this statue. Basically, the statue was near completion. I think in the middle of 1993, statue's near completion. A piece of Lucifer, a piece of the horse, falls off, hits Luis Jimenez, and he dies from his injuries in the hospital. So this crazy looking horse, literally a piece of it falls off and kills the creator. But thankfully, it said it was almost done. So it got finished anyway. They kept it. But this horse killed its owner. This statue horse killed its owner. I mean, that in itself is just crazy to me. That's it. That's the end of the story. To me, that's creepy enough. I'm not going to this airport. But it continues to go on and on. So then you go to the paintings inside. Now, according to the Denver airport, these paintings are supposed to show peace and harmony and all kind of other madness they're talking about. But look at this. It looks like Red Skull from the Avengers, the first Captain America movie. That's what it looks like. Red Skull with a horse and a bunch of scared people on the ground. And then it looks like a woman with a baby crying. So to me, I'm like I said, that's what the artist says. It's supposed to be peace, love, harmony. Nothing about that is peace, love, and harmony to me. And said that's just one. That's the one that creeps me out the most. But there's a bunch. If you want to Google it, there's a bunch of other crazy, just weird pictures, just all over the airport. Like no, just little nice, happy family. Not a golden retriever picture. We just got these weird, creepy Red Skull pictures just all over the airport. In addition, when you arrive at the airport, you have gargoyles watching over your baggage claim. And according to this, they say that gargoyles is like a ancient tradition. Basically, gargoyles watch over your luggage and like give good vibes, give good spirits. But to me, that is creepy. Like the gargoyles from the Disney shows creep me out, but this is next level. This is like super, super creepy. I'm saying I'm going to pick up my luggage, and this dude, Michelangelo, is just sitting there looking down at me and my luggage, and said that in itself would give super crazy vibes. In addition, they say all throughout the airport there are like formulas and just random words that don't make any sense, just written all throughout the airport. And like I said, that could be trolling, that could be people just writing stuff. But why, except the periodic table of elements basically is written all throughout the airport. So you're sitting, waiting for your flight, you look to the right, and on the wall, you see K for potassium. You just see a bunch of elements all throughout the wall. And I'll explain why that's actually important, but in itself, just another weird, creepy thing. Why are there just periodic table elements just listed all throughout the airport? And one of the big conspiracies about the Denver airport is people believe that it is basically was created by the Nazis. And of course, we hear the Nazis and stuff like that brought up all the time unnecessarily. But like I said, they believe that basically an elitist group of Nazis is behind this. And when you look at the Denver airport from the sky, this is what it looks like. So, yeah, it's a stretch. But I want you to look closely. I mean, it kind of does look like a swastika. I mean, like I said, I know it's a reach, but most conspiracy theories like this are a reach. So, like I said, but the fact of why does it even look even close to that? Like I said, there's just mounting, just small little mountains and mountains and mountains of just weird stuff just piling up. Like I said, I mean, the picture is not exact, but I mean, what do you think? Like I said, leave it in the comments as I go through these things. Ones that look viable, ones that are like, oh, well, this is stupid. That doesn't make any sense. Like I said, I don't expect for you to, when I go through these conspiracies, if you listen to the podcast, you'll know. I don't talk about any of these things, one saying that I believe it or I don't believe it. I will give my opinion usually at the end. But the point of this podcast is not to convince you of anything. I want to get that straight. Anything, if I talk about something, that doesn't mean I believe it. I'm just giving you the info and you can do with it whatever you want. Now, where it really gets interesting is you can look at this time capsule. There's a time capsule in here. And like I said, the building was blessed basically on March 19th of 1994. And if you can look above the March 19th, 1994, that is the symbol of the Freemasons. And I have to do basically a whole episode on that if you don't really know the conspiracy behind the Freemasons. But basically behind the whole thing with Freemasons is basically New World Order, global elites, weird stuff like that, Illuminati connections, all that kind of stuff. Why is the Freemasons symbol on this? I don't know. But like I said, it is creepy. According to the airport, there's like baseball cards and little memorabilia. And this is supposed to be opened in 100 years from then. So it will be opened in, oh my God, my math is bad. Whatever 100 years from 1994 is. Oh my God. But like I said, it'll be said to be open 100 years from then. And basically what people believe is, which I guess we'll go ahead and cover that first. You can take a look at this tunnel. Basically, when the Denver airport was created, like I said, this is an absolutely gigantic airport. When the airport was originally created, there was supposed to be this underground tunnel system for your luggage. So that way everything happened underground, super fast, super easy. There was supposed to be this whole underground system. That never happened. We don't really know why, but it never actually fully developed. So you just got all this just transportation type stuff going on underground that is not really being used. So when you put all this together and try to make sense of it, basically what people believe is that the Denver airport basically was built by the global elite, and it is basically would serve as an underground bunker for the elite or whoever, but mainly the elite, global elite, Freemasons, Illuminati, for any kind of apocalyptic type event. So at the end of the world, any kind of nuclear war, basically this is where the global elites would go to hide, which goes back to that time capsule with the Freemason sign on it. If you are not to believe that there's baseball cards and whatever other random stuff they say is in there, people basically believe that in that time capsule are instructions basically to the elite 100 years from now to continue on whatever we're doing. So hypothetically speaking, let's say this is a hiding spot for the elite. 100 years from now, like I said, the elite will open this and it will be, I don't know what it will be, instructions on backup plans, instructions on where everything is. And on top of the fact, like I said, you got the periodic table and other stuff written down on there. So people believe, okay, so like I said, if society just gets completely wiped out, we have the next generation basically will have all of our science just randomly on the wall. And then in this time capsule, like I said, will be instructions on where everything else is at so that society can continue on. And like I said, that out of all the theories isn't like super weird or super far-fetched to me, at least. Could be to you. But like I said, a lot of these I personally don't believe in. But as far as the whole global elite, as far as like maybe even being like a bunker, maybe. Like I said, I don't see why not. Now, as far as it being Illuminati or any of that type of stuff, maybe not. But just the elite having a specific hiding spot and using the Denver airport, I mean, it's definitely possible. Like I said, as always, I want to see your comments. Like I said, you can say it's total hogwash, total BS, and I will be okay with it. Like I said, it doesn't bother me if you believe it either way. Or if you're all in, like, yes, the Illuminati, the Freemasons, all of them are on this. So be it. Good for you. If you also believe that, put it in the comments. I'm not going to judge you. I can't say what other people in the comments are going to say. They might call you crazy. But like I said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist shamer. So whatever you want to believe, you can believe. So like I said, if you never knew about this, just a little quick refresher. Like I said, always I've discussed this on my actual podcast, the 42-minute version. So if you want more, like this just really caught your attention, you want to know a little bit more, you can go to Paranoid with Patrick Simpson podcast and get a little bit more information. But if was good enough for you, next time you go to the Denver airport, you're never going to look at it the same. Most people just run to Chick-fil-A or McDonald's. You're hopefully you'll be looking around the walls for potassium and periodic table type things. Like, oh, well, he said that there was periodic table stuff all over the wall. Or you might go look at the pictures. Like I said, stuff that you didn't even realize was there because you're kind of just chilling out, taking a nap. Hopefully the next time you go to Denver airport, you can find these things, take pictures. As you see at the bottom, follow me on Twitter at _Patrick Simpson. Anything I talk about or any just random conspiracies, tag me in it, send me a DM, show it to me. I'll discuss it on the podcast. Like I said, anybody that's been following me over time knows I love taking suggestions. If I get suggestions, I try to put it on my shows. Now that I got YouTube and the podcast, it'll go on there either way. So like I said, if you already have pictures, but next time you go to Denver Airport, think about this episode, look for those specific things, and send me some pictures. But that's all I got. We're way over time. We'll be back next Monday with a very new episode. My name is Patrick Simpson, and this is Paranoid.